Michigan goes out west and loses to USC 31-13 in a game that was absolutely packed at the Coliseum. It was a raucous atmosphere in a game that Michigan going into it. I talked a little bit about how I thought that Michigan not only was going to lose this game, but I was going to be interested to see what this offense would do against this USC defense. Now, I thought that USC would be able to score on Michigan's defense just because of kind of the playmakers that USC had. I talked about Jaden Mayava. He's been great this year. He did throw one interception, a really bad interception, an interception that could have truly got Michigan back in this game. Now, do I think Michigan was truly ever comfortably they would probably win this game? No, I don't really truly think there was ever that point that you can really say that Michigan you thought was going to win this game, that they were the better team. I think you can say USC was the better team in this game, but even when Jaden Mayava ended up throwing that interception, a really bad interception, it was a real opportunity for Michigan to be able to get a little bit of momentum back. Now, they weren't able to take advantage of that. Michigan did struggle offensively a little bit. Bryce Underwood did throw for 200-plus yards, 2 touchdowns. He did have a really bad interception that I believe it was a pass attempt to, maybe it was Donovan McCulley or Andrew Marsh. I can't remember exactly which one, but it was directly to the safety. Not a great interception at all, not a great throwing ball. But outside of that, he's finding guys in Andrew Marsh and Donovan McCulley that are truly contributing to this team. Now, Donovan McCulley, I talked about in the prior game, was the main guy. Andrew Marsh was the guy in this game. 8 receptions, 138 yards, 1 touchdown, a long touchdown, a great play. I believe it was a missed tackle that USC had. But Andrew Marsh is continuing to starting to grow when it comes to not only route running, but catching the ball, getting involved. Now, prior to this game, I've talked about Michigan having the capability of breaking off big runs and how that has been really important to this team's success. And I think that while Bryce Underwood has gotten a little bit more involved running the ball, I think when Justice Haynes got injured in this game, I think that truly put Michigan behind the 8 ball. And I think that truly was the point that Michigan ended up losing this game and that Michigan didn't have a chance to come back. That's how important I think Justice Haynes is for this Michigan offense. When Michigan struggles offensively, it's been when he cannot get a big run. In this game, Michigan's longest run was 13 yards. In the games prior, they've been averaging 40, 50-yard runs. Not every single time, but they've at least had one breakout to that. Michigan wasn't able to do that in this game. And when you go up against a defense that is as athletic, as lengthy as this USC team, and you have opportunities to get a little bit going offensively, you have to take advantage of those opportunities. You cannot have turnovers. Michigan had 2 interceptions in this game. Jaden Davis had 1 towards the end of this game, and basically a meaningless game at that point. They ended up pulling Bryce Underwood towards the end of this game, rightfully so. But this Michigan team had 2 turnovers on the road going out to the West in an atmosphere that is just insanely hard to win. You don't see a ton of teams go out west and win, especially against, in my opinion, a team in USC that I still think is really talented. They have a guy in Makai Lemon. He was great in this game. They have a guy in Lake McCree. The tight ends were causing major issues for Michigan's defense. Every single time Michigan had an opportunity to get off the field, for the most part, it was a seam route from either a tight end, from a wide receiver. It was either a big play from Makai Lemon. It was either a nice catch from Jacoby Lane. When they needed the big stop, Michigan wasn't able to do it. And when they don't have that type of defense, when they struggle to get off the field in those big opportunities, and when you don't have your main running back, now I do think that Jordan Marshall was actually pretty decent. He had almost 5 yards running the ball on average, so that isn't anything bad. But there's just a different level when it comes to him and Justice Haynes. When Justice Haynes is not healthy, that can be an issue for this Michigan team. Now, obviously, other guys stepped up, but then you can also say the same thing for USC. USC had guys step up, especially King Miller. King Miller, I believe, was a walk-on, or at least a former walk-on. 18 carries, 158 yards, one touchdown, did have a breakout run for 49 yards. Wayman Jordan had opportunities and was efficient when he was on the field, but when he was not healthy, he was off the field. He did not play the rest of that game after his injury. King Miller, though, I thought was great. I thought he ran extremely hard. I thought that USC continued to do what they wanted to do offensively. I think that's one thing that you really have to give Lincoln Riley credit for this USC team. He's kind of a coach that historically has been one that has been truly led by the quarterback, led by throwing the ball, under Caleb Williams, stuff like that. Jayden Maiava can do that, but this type of USC offense and just this type of USC team overall is truly adapting more to what the Big Ten play is like. Now, they do still have the speed. They still showed it in this game. But when you have length, when you have size, when you can run the ball as effectively as USC did against Michigan in this game, which a ton of teams typically cannot do, that's going to be an issue for Michigan, especially in this game, in the future if that continues to happen. This was a game that I thought that USC was going to win. I mentioned at the beginning, I'm not super surprised that USC ended up winning this game. Am I surprised by the score? A little bit, but I thought that you could rely on this USC offense a little bit more than what you can rely on this Michigan offense. And I think solely because of that, I thought that USC was going to win this game. And like I mentioned at the beginning, there was never truly a point where I thought that USC was going to lose this game. USC came out ready to go right away. I know there's comments made from Sharon Moore and Jordan Marshall after the game. Sharon was before, basically saying that, hey, they're selling out the Coliseum because we're Michigan. It's interesting just the way that they kind of work under Sharon Moore, not under Jim Harbaugh. Don't have to necessarily go into that, but I think you could really truly see that this USC team was motivated going into this game, that they were ready, that they were not very happy after the Illinois game. And when you have a motivated squad with as much talent offensively as USC has and the talent that they have defensively, it's not typically a good recipe for the other team, and it wasn't a good recipe for Michigan in this game. So yeah, that's really my thoughts on it. Obviously, difficult loss for Michigan, a 31-13, 18-point loss, 4-2 on the year. Obviously, maybe not the season that they've wanted so far. I think it's the season that I actually predicted. I think I had them losing to USC and also losing to Oklahoma. Maybe I did have them beating USC, but so far I'm not super surprised at what's exactly happening for Michigan. I think that Bryce Underwood is getting better. I think they need to continue to trust him. We'll see what happens with a guy in Justice Haynes if he can get healthy. Hopefully it's not a long-term thing if you're a Michigan fan, because if it is, it's going to be really interesting to see what this running game comes to be for Michigan. But I think Justice Haynes is a huge guy for this Michigan offense. I think they're going to have to get him back. I think he's going to have to get healthy. If Michigan can break off these big runs, they're going to be fine offensively, but they're going to have to figure out ways to do that going forward if he can't play. But I don't think it's anything super major at all. I think they're starting to kind of get things going with a wide receiver 1 and 2 with a guy in Donovan McCulley and Andrew Marsh. I think Michigan's getting a little bit better. It's just maybe not as progressive as fans thought it would be, or maybe Bryce Underwood is just not as great as they thought they would be at the very beginning. He has a accuracy issue right now, 15 for 24. But I think he's going to be fine. He's going to continue to get better. He's going to have his guys continue to get better around him. And now Michigan has to look forward to playing Washington. And this is a Washington team that's playing really well right now. I'll preview that game, obviously. But, yeah, really tough to obviously go out west, like I've said before. But Michigan falls to 4-2. I will talk about that Washington game coming up here shortly. But if you enjoy this content, if you enjoy what I had to say, definitely make sure to leave a like, subscribe, comment. Even if you don't, make sure to leave a like, subscribe, comment, all that kind of stuff. I'll obviously talk more Michigan going forward. But, yeah, tough loss for Michigan on the road, and they look back to responding next week.